Action. Action.
David Steiner, your stuttering lawyer here. I'm here to address the question that Cookie asked today about slowing down our speech. Does that help? Well, I think it does help many people. For other people, it's the opposite. J. Edgar Hoover had a childhood stutter, which he ultimately grew out of, but his way of dealing with it when he was a boy was to speak very quickly. So different people are different about that. But slowing down our speech is something, or speeding it up, is something that had interested me for a while. From 1980 to 1982, I was in the Peace Corps, and I was an English teacher in Niger. And the official language of Niger is French, but at least at that time, only 10% of the population spoke French. In the area that I was living in, the native language was Hausa, so I had to use Hausa when I bargained at the market or when I was asking directions or anything like that. And my speech, my stutter in English and Hausa were about the same, but it was much worse in French because French is simply spoken faster. The reason for that, if you've ever seen a French and an English side by side, you see English, the French translation. It just takes so many more syllables to say something in French. If you use the same syllable production rate in French as you do in English, people say, hey, you got to pick it up, which in fact is what happened to Napoleon. French was Napoleon's third language, and in school, the other kids made fun of him because he spoke French so slowly. And anyway, and everybody in Niger thought that my knowledge of the Hausa language was much better than my knowledge of French. Actually, it was the opposite. My French was far superior to my Hausa, but I didn't stutter anywhere near as much as Hausa because syllable production in Hausa is like it is in English, but in French I had to speak a whole lot faster. And that was a problem. For 17 years, I was a client of the Hollands Communications Research Institute. That's where I met my good friend Paul Goldstein. And the way they do it, they start you off at speaking with a syllable length of 2 seconds, and they gradually reduce the rate, and eventually they send you home with what they call slow normal. You're speaking with a syllable production rate that is slower than normal, but closer to normal. And even in English, people were telling me you got to pick it up. But when I tried to use it in French, people would just laugh. And I remember once on the old stuttering listservs, I was talking about this, and there was a Belgian guy who said, "What are you talking about? People speak French, in France and Belgium, they speak so slowly. People speak French so slowly." And I said to him, well, yeah, as a native French speaker, the way that you're judging how fast people are speaking is by how fast information is being transmitted. And in that regard, yeah, French is really slow. But the reason that it seems slow to you and it seems so fast to a person who doesn't speak French and is only hearing it by syllables is exactly the same reason, because it takes so many more syllables to say something in French. And that was really one of the things that led me eventually to leave the Hollins program because it just wasn't working in French for me. But it is an interesting question. Obviously, slowing things down can help many people, and I just thought I'd give my thoughts on that. David Steiner, your stuttering lawyer, over and out.